Hello and welcome to the fun little Ask Me Anything about DBA tools. Um, Today I don't have any specific items that I'm going to be looking at. Um, I do have a little thing about notebooks, but we talked about that a little bit, but certainly we can do more stuff with that if we wanted to. But hopefully we have some questions. Let me get on our poll gab and make sure we aren't missing any of those. Didn't see anything last time I went, but I can certainly check again to make sure everything is good there. Hopefully everybody survived the weekend. Super fun weekend, I guess, for some. I still don't have any questions on my poll gap, so I'll have to update my advertising for that platform, just basically pollgab.com with the room of DBADuck. So hopefully we can get people to start doing more with that scenario. So hopefully we have yeah, my hair. I went outside and we have a wind advisory, and boy, it sure lived up to its name as far as wind advisory. We have lots of fun stuff there. So DBA tools. Let's go into our DBA tools deal here. And see if we don't get any questions, we can see if there's any ideas on what questions you would ask. So let me I guess we don't have anybody who wants to ask a question. Okay. Well, we have behind us the little, oops, that's not what I meant. We'll go into commands here and just make sure we have different things. So let's see, what have I been working on lately? Let's do... There's so many get commands we could use. I did use the other day, I did use a scenario where I grabbed indexes from another database. And the cool thing about DBA tools is that it gives you the ability to do something like this. Let's go into Azure Data Studio here. This is a PowerShell window. Let's do a new PowerShell window here. Select PowerShell. And basically in here, let's make sure we're in the right PowerShell window. We're in 7. We don't want that. So let's do a new Windows PowerShell. And we're in 5.1 now, so that's what we want to be. So the idea is this. So we're just going to write it out here as a comment. So I have 2 databases. And I want to, for a list of tables, find out which indexes are on the primary but not the secondary. So the reason why this came up is because we have databases that are replicated. And the replicated databases can have separate indexes on them. Let me make this a little bigger. This just looks a little too small. Make sure everybody can see it. I just basically search font and make sure this is bigger. We'll just do 24. And then my terminal font is going to be down here. That's marked down. There's my terminal. I'll do 4 there as well. And now it got bigger, so we'll close settings. They're hot settings, so they just take effect. So we have these 2 databases, and we're going to basically stage this scenario. Okay, so we're in Azure Data Studio because we have the luxury of doing a new connection. So let's do a new connection. The new connection will be to our prod SQL 1, SQL 01, and Windows authentication. So we'll go here. And in my SQL server here, I have my little thing, and that's fine. We can do a new query. So a new query, we're going to basically create our database. So we have databases over here, and we have these ones over here. We're going to create different ones. So we're going to create database DemoDB, demo1, database demo2. Okay, easy peasy. Run, 2 databases created. So now we refresh this guy, and we have these wonderful demo databases with no tables. Okay, so in demo 1, we're going to take this guy out. We're going to demo 1. We're going to create a table. Table 1. I know creative. I know ID int not null identity, and then we'll have name, and city, and zip. We'll do 8. So now we're going to have these tables, and we're not going to set up replication because of time. That's just silly. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically take this guy right here, and we're going to create this, and we're going to do it on both scenarios. So table 1 and table 2. So we're going to create the first one here. Going to take demo 2, create the table again. And inside this table, we're not going to create any data. We're just going to create indexes. So we're going to create index. Name. And with that, we're going to just create it. Then we're going to create an index on city. What? And we're going to do city. So the city index we're going to do on demo 1. Oh, did we do that on demo? Let's do demo 1. So demo 1, we're going to put 2 indexes on here and just go to run these 2. So now we have indexes here. And we're just going to make sure we're clear. So we don't have to do this one. Select star from sys.indexes. Where ID, where object ID is greater than 100. Okay, so we're going to run this, and we should see, oh, well, that's not what I wanted to see. Let's see what I can see. Wow, I have a few more than I thought. So we're just going to do object ID equals object ID of the table 1, just to cut to the chase. Okay, so I thought I created these on demo 1. Yeah, same name. That's what I thought. You silly guy. So now I have this IX name and IX city on demo 1. If I change to demo 2, I have not that. Okay, so I have an IX name only. So I'm missing the city one. So now what I do is in DBA Tools, we're going to go back to our PowerShell because DBA Tools will help us with this. So we're going to go back here to our this. First, we have server one. We're just going to do server because we're going to do it on the same server. And the database, db1 equals demo1. db2 equals demo2. And now we're set up. So the biggest thing here with DBA Tools 2.0, remember we have the issue with the trusted server certificate. I'm just going to create a S equals and then connect dash DBA. Whoa. Instance with SQL instance of server. But I'm going to trust server certificate. Okay, so that's easy. This will give me a trusted connection to allow me to use this S on any command, invoke dash DBA query, anything like that, without having to always have trust server certificate in the thing. So we're just going to create this guy here. We're going to execute the trust server certificate on the connection. And maybe it's going to work and maybe it's not. We'll wait and hang in there. Okay, it's finished. And now just to make sure we have S correct, we have prod SQL 1. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to methodically go through this with DBA Tools. So the first thing in DBA Tools is we're going to say we only have one table. So we're going to say tables equals and just one, table 1. Okay, just for kicks and giggles. I did find out an interesting thing. If I go DBO.table1, watch how it happens when we go into this. But I say for each table in tables, I like to do plural, so I can do single of. And in this scenario, we're going to want to get that table from the source and the database. Okay, so we're going to say table obj equals get dash DBA DB table. The cool piece of this is I can do dash server or SQL instance, and I can just do $S. But then there's a database, and I can say DB1. But notice how there's a table. Now, I notice that in this command, there is a dash schema as well. But if I say dash table and I say table, if it has the schema attached to it, it actually works. I don't have to specify the schema. It actually found the DBO.table. And now I can get my table object. Now, oh, whoops, just a second. I don't want that in there. This table object is now the SMO table for the SQL Server, which gives me the ability to interrogate objects underneath it, which means indexes. So now I'm going to say for each index in table obj dot indexes. Now this is my source, right? So table obj is my source. So I could even say source obj. Let's do that. Source obj and source obj. So that we have a method that says, I have my source that I'm going to compare everything against. Make sure that everything is on that side. Just to make sure that all the indexes flow from source over to destination. Okay? And if they don't exist, I'm going to create them. Now, you might think, wow, how do you do that? Well, watch. If I get all my indexes from here, and I say, get dash DBA DB table. In this case, the SQL instance is the same, but the database is not, DB2. And I go get my table. Whoops, I meant this. Dest obj equals. And right now I'm not testing for existence or if I got it really. I'm believing that I will because this is a demo. If I didn't set it up right, then I guess I will fail. But in this case, I'm not planning on failing. So I want to know if this particular index here is in the destination object's indexes. Okay, so I'm going to, because I'm relying on name on this one. So I'm going to say if not, no, we're just not going to do that. We're going to say if index.name is not contains, I didn't mean that. I meant dest_obj.indexes.name not contains the index.name. If the indexes on the destination object's name doesn't contain the index's name, then I want to create it. So I say index script equals index.name, oh no, index.script. And I could be a little more fancy here as well, index.script. And then I can say invoke -DBA query SQL instance of S, because I've already done the trust certificate. You can't do a trust certificate in invoke DBA query. You have to do it with a connection. So this is going to help me. Now I'm going to do database, and I'm going to say DB2, and I'm going to say query is index script. Now I'm also going to say query timeout 0, just in case I'm on a very large table. Once this is done, it will then exit the if and say I didn't find it, and then it goes and loops through the rest of the indexes, finds the next index and does what it does, and then it ends, right, for each table. So here's my table. Get me the source object, get the indexes, and say, does the destination object contain my index? If not, script it out and invoke it. Okay, so we're just going to run this. And what we should find is it finishes pretty fast. I mean, it makes sense. Now we're going to go back into our prod SQL1 query, and we're going to say on demo 1 whether we have indexes, and we do, name and city and my heap. Great. Now I'm going to change to demo 2, and demo 2 now should have my indexes. And it doesn't. So I wonder why not. So let's go back here. This is why we have demos. It's supposed to work. I did it and it worked before. So let's walk through it. Source object is the table of get DB table. So we want to see if we actually get the source object name. So let's go here, and we're going to, well, let's just see if it has the name in here. It does not. So for each table in tables, I didn't put it in memory. I apologize. That's my bad. So normally I do something like this: source obj.name to tell me that I'm in the source object. I might even put it in quotes. Source. And then in here I might say destination. And here I might actually say index, if it's not contained. If it's not contained, then I say not contained, and I do index.name. Okay? So now I can track whether I'm actually getting the objects. So here we go. We'll run it again, just because. So source table 1, destination table 1, not contained IX city, destination table 1, done. Okay? So now let's go back to the query. Now I have name and city in demo 2, and I have name and city in table 1 inside demo 1. So as you can see, a simple little thing using DBA tools lets me get a table object, which then gets me access to the index object here. So now I have some luxury in playing around with my data here. As you can see, you can see the idea that we have right here. the source indexes, and then we get the table right here, and then we have the destination object name output. Those things are easy when you have this. Get-DBADB table. Now I could, let's just go below, I could actually take a database and say s.databases db1.tables. And the funny thing about tables is that it will have the name first. So say it was DBA schema, I'd have to go table1, comma, DBO. Okay. Then once I have that, I can say indexes, and I can get them that way. But why wrap all this syntax in here when I can just get -DBADB table? Not really hugely valuable in my opinion. I think if we had the option to get this destination object and this source object really quickly, like get DBADB table, that it would give us a really good ability to get to the hierarchy quickly with parameters. Okay. Now, if you want to build this in and do indexes here and say for each or whatever you want to do, then you're welcome to. This will give me the indexes. So if I then said .name, you'd see I'd get IX city and IX name. So I can get them this way if I want. But again, DBA tools lets me get to things like invoke-DBA query, and it lets me get that DBADB table with some parameters. Again, this is nice. And the benefit to this is that you could completely set this up how you wanted to in a way that is splatable. Okay, so that's one of those weird things here that we'll talk about a little bit later. I mean, not later today. We may do a SQL PowerShell one tomorrow and do all about splatting, just so that you get a really good idea. In fact, that's what we'll do. Tomorrow we'll do splatting. So I'll update my stream info for splatting. We'll get it advertised out on Twitter and make sure we get the option to learn a little bit more about splatting. But here we're just talking about a little simple process. There's a couple for eaches. We sync the indexes, and I can have multiple tables. I did have multiple tables. Some of them were big, so the query timeout was helpful to get them all synced up. And this invoke DBA query works just fantastic to get a query executed. And think like invoke SQL CMD or SQL CMD itself. Just with a parameter of instance, database, query, and query timeout, and we're done. So hopefully that was a good insight into some of the things you can do with DBA tools. Since we didn't get any questions, we want to make sure that everybody had the opportunity to see something that DBA tools can do in a practical way. This is very practical if you're going to sync indexes or really anything. You can take this same scenario and get -DBA something and test it out and do not contains and stuff like that. So super helpful when you look at the idea. And thank you again for attending. We will get this going more. Every day we get better and better, and we're going to take this in stride. Thank you very much, all Twitchverse, and hopefully everybody has a great day, and I will see you again. Till then, on the quest for fun for DBA tools and SQL Server. Bye-bye.